So right now I'm starting to take some measurements of where the hitch ball needs to be for my travel trailer to keep it level, because I'm very happy right now with the way that it tows when it's hooked up to my half ton. And the 1 ton, the receiver is 3 inches higher under unloaded conditions than the half ton. So obviously something's going to have to move, and I can only go down about 2 inches on this shank. So I may need to get another shank if I want to continue to run the weight distributing hitch, which I think I will eventually. But the new 1 ton is good, according to the books, for 1,800 pounds of tongue load, and this one here is only a little over 1,200. So from that perspective, I should be able to just hook this thing onto a 2 5/16 ball with a drop shank on the 1 ton and test it that way as well, to see if that's reasonable, if it really, if the anti-sway of this hitch is even required. Now I do like the weight distributing hitch because it does allow you to put weight back on the nose. I've gone through that in a couple of other videos, and I'm transferring about 740 pounds of this tongue weight to the back axle and about 240 pounds to the front axle of this truck with the way this is set up right now. So this truck drives very well. It handles the wind, it handles side load, it handles buffeting from trucks. It drives very well. So I'm probably going to still want to use the weight distributing hitch, even though I most likely don't need it on the 1 ton, just to put some more weight back on the nose, keep the headlights down. But what I'm going to do now is take a quick measurement of ball height now that it's set up, and then I'm going to bring the 1 ton over here and just hook it to it and put the full weight of it on the 1 ton and see where it ends up. And then I'm going to try to figure out, if I can get a, let's say, 4 or 5 inch drop shank with a 2 5/16 ball, which would put me at about the same place. So let's take a look at what we got. What do we have here? Okay. Top of the ball looks to be in about the 22.5 inch range. So that's where it needs to be, no matter what. Because this is towing about as level as I can possibly get it. So this height needs to be 22.5 inches. So that's a known. And now we're going to go swap trucks around and see where we end up. Alright, so the first thing I can say is the rear view camera, the backup camera on the truck, was an option that I really didn't care about. But now I have used it once and did that without looking, except at the radio. I kind of like it already. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is measure how far this thing drops when I attach when I put the trailer weight on it. So it looks like we're at about right at about 27 before I load it. And that's interesting. So okay, now I'm going to put the full weight of the trailer on it, and we're going to take another measurement. Okay, that is fully loaded. We were at 27, and now we are at, look at that, right at about 24.5. We went from 27 to 24.5. So the squat from the weight is, 2.5 inches, right? So it drops at 2.5 inches. So if what that tells me is that I need to figure out what kind of a shank that will put the ball height at 25, because if the ball height is at 25 and then I put it on, I'm at 22.5, which is exactly where I want to be. So that's my first start. Okay, so I just took some measurements while it was loaded, and then now that it's unloaded again, and what I found is the rear dropped about 1.5 inches, and the front went up right at 1/2 inch. So with the full tongue weight on it, plus the hitch, which is a little more, we came down about 1.5 inches in the back, and we went up about 1/2 inch in the front. I'm going to load it back up again, and then I'm going to put the bars in and hook the bars, just to see what kind of weight transfer and what that does to the heights as well. Because this is where I like getting the front end back down to where it is stock, or a little lower, because that's just better for driving, in my opinion, as far as how it handles. Alright, now we have the bars hooked with exactly the same setup that I used for my 1/2 ton as far as weight transfer, and the back on that one came down about 1 1/8 inches, and the front end is down to exactly where it started, which is, or within 1/8 inch, which is exactly how it should be. So while this thing is certainly capable, I think, of towing this trailer easily without a weight distributing hitch, because when it was fully loaded, it had more than 3/4 of an inch before it even touched the first stage of the helper springs. So it's still just able to handle that 1,200 pounds with just a standard, just the standard first spring. So it's definitely capable of doing it, but I think that it will be a better ride, and I am going to continue to use my weight distributing hitch. The fun part now is I've only got about 2 inches of downward adjustability on this, and that I don't think is going to be quite enough to get me to where I need to be. Let's find out. Yeah, because right now we're back to almost 27 again, and if I need to get that down to 22.5, I've got to come down another 4.5 inches on this thing, and I don't have the ability to do that. So I need a much larger shank. So, and I think I'm going to order one that has the 2.5 inch adapter, because that just will make it so I don't have to use that sleeve, which is a little sloppy. I mean, it works, it'll be fine, but for right now, that's what I think I'm going to do. Alright, so now we're all good. After taking a whole bunch of measurements and checking out everything online, I've got a new 6.5 inch shank, 6.5 inch drop with a 2.5 inch shank coming via the Amazon Express, and that should allow me to rejigger this thing, keep my weight distribution like I like it and like I think it's going to be good for the truck, and lower it down to where the trailer will ride flat again. I'm not going to tear it apart yet though, because I still want to take this for one last drag with the 1/2 ton to just make a few points about how it acts, how the engine heats up, and the oil, and drivability and things like that. I was going to do that today, but we had some severe rain last night, and a bunch of the areas I usually drive through were flooded, so we're not going to be doing that today. Anyway, if you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. You can always subscribe to the channel right down there. Click on the box if you want to see the updates as we go further with this project, and hope you all have a good day. Thanks.